Welcome back, everybody. Well, today let's build some forms around the house so we can pour some concrete here in a week or so. If you've not been here before, I'm going to build a wraparound porch, so it'll come down the left, down the front, and back down the right hand side. So it's just been so much rain that I've got delayed on this. This should have been done a month ago, but just not had the weather and the conditions to do it. But it's dried up the last 4 or 5 days. So hey, you can actually walk without getting mud on your feet. For those that have followed along, the last video I talked about what type of roofing I was using. So my roofers were able to come up and they got the garage done and they've got the back side of the house. So the only thing they like is the front side and then my little breezeway here. So once they get the metal on the front and the breezeway, then they got to come back and trim everything out. But we're on our way on that, but hopefully, weather permitting, by the first part of next week, we'll have a complete roof so we can quit worrying about the rain. Okay, you over your green line, Kristen? Yeah. Okay, hold this right here. Stand up like I am. Hold it like that. Just put your thumb on it. Now it's moments like this that these kids love their daddy.
I'm dropping red. Dropping red. Go.
Little more, House. Palin, you having fun?
There's a bee swung in my head.
You ain't sweet enough for a bee to bite you, Palin.
Hello, YouTube family. Just want you all to see what the slave driver's having us do today. See this ditch line right here? I will be digging all the way around the house. I have lots of nice choice words for Travis.
Kristen, she's been wanting to go to McDonald's for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I told her she'd get out here and matic out all the way around the porch here. I'd take her tonight. You can even get you a milkshake too, Kristen.
I better get more than McDonald's tonight for all the slave labor I'm putting in.
I'll take you to Burger King, yeah. Brandon, get in there and get to clean it out, dude.
Measure.
Take you one pass underneath the board, Kristen, and one right beside it that way. Because that board's got to lay down in here like that. It'll have to hit right there.
Every time it keeps changing.
All right, what we're doing is I'm going to put posts all the way around this porch, obviously, to hold the roof up. So I've got a layout where all my post locations are going to be. So basically, I'm going to go out through here, mark all those locations, and I'm going to come back with a post hole digger on the tractor, and I'm going to drill some basically footers for those posts when they come back. Once the porch pours, it'll pour into those holes, and I'll have some concrete underneath where my posts are sitting. That way we can hold this thing up. But then we're going to form up around it. So the grade work man, when he was running the tractor around here, in a few places I was about 1 inch too shallow from going too deep to where my 2x6 will cover, so the digging crew, they're having a ball doing it.
I wish you just spent more time in the cab.
All right, just keep it up. You'll get there. You got the wrong number. Thank you.
Insurance.
Well, apparently I got diabetes. All right, I got all my post locations laid out around through here, so I've borrowed my dad's post hole diggers. So I'm gonna go over there and try to get them out of the trailer. We'll hook them up to the tractor. Let's dig us some footers. Now I'm gonna do this porch a little bit different. You know, most of the time you'll see just 6x6 or 8x8 posts, and then you'll have a wood header, and then you tie your rafters into it. But I wanted it, I always do things the hard way, but I drew up a plan for basically a porch system, if you want to call it, but it's all going to be out of 6x6 steel tubing. So I've got, they will basically take a 6x6, cut it for me. They'll put a flange on the bottom to where I can bolt it down, but then up here on the top they're basically going to create me a cradle to where that 6x6 will sit down in it, and they'll go ahead and pre-drill everything. So when I go around through here, set all my posts, in which I'll put all thread in the concrete, it'll come up and I'll have a nut on the bottom, and then I'll be able to basically level that post with those nuts on the bottom, and then it'll have the cradle on the top that'll receive those 6x6 headers, and basically it'll go from that side of the house over there all the way around back to the other side. So it's a little aggravating, but hey, I guess weird. I like doing things the hard way, but I got to think about painting them too, and I'm gonna go ahead and have them to powder coat them. So anyway, they are to hold up. I don't think the termites will eat them. And then once I get that done and I get my basically my steel frame in place, I'll come back with like a 4x6 beam for my rafters, and then we'll put a tongue and groove ceiling on top of it, and then obviously our standing seam metal will go on top of it. But it'll be a little bit different, but it's going to be some work getting it done. But I think when it's all said and done, I don't think it'll blow away, and hopefully it'll hold the roof up. Now I'll tell you, I'm not a cusser, but if I had to fool with hooking this thing up every day, I'd become one. But I had a little debacle Saturday evening. I was getting ready to drill all these holes, and then bottom side of the PTO shaft here was bent, so I couldn't get everything hooked up. So it's Monday now. Ended up taking one off the bush hog, so we're gonna see if we can change the auger out, put the 12-inch auger on it, see if we can get these holes drilled. Throw it out here. Brantley's them OSHA approved work shoes.
Yeah, totally.
That'll feel good when that post hole diggers hit you on the toe. I ain't done tell, I'm gonna have to teach you how to run a post hole digger. You got to grunt and growl with them, boy. Well, I got all my little footers dug, or holes if you want to call them. That's probably overkill, but when I set that post on it and I anchor it down to that concrete, I'll just feel a little bit better knowing that I got a little meat underneath it that's gonna hold that post. So anyway, we got those done. Next on the agenda is I set my batter boards up the other night, but what I did is I went ahead and shot elevation on those. So that is the front elevation of the porch. So I will run my forms around the house, and then once I get that done, I'll come back in here and check my grade and make sure everything's pretty close. I mean, this porch doesn't need to be 6 inches deep, so I'll come in here and make sure I've got about a 4-inch pour all the way through it. And then once I get that done, I'll come back and tie my steel in. But actually, before I put my steel in, I'm still going to probably put a vapor barrier down under this. That way I just don't get any ground moisture into it. And then I'll wrap it over my form material. That way I'll be able to just pull my forms off and be able to reuse that material. But one thing I did when I formed up the slab and put my steel in it is I went ahead and ran rebar out. My form was up to here, so when I brought my steel from the slab, I went ahead and run it on out here, so that way I can tie a piece of steel all the way down the length, all the way around this house, and then I'll continue that on out here to the edge and then cross it up. But that way, if anything were to ever settle, then the house is going to hold the porch, and then I don't know if the porch would hold the house, but it'll marry all that together, and I shouldn't ever have any settling back at the house to where water would go this way versus coming out the way we want it to. And then hopefully I can get my concrete man up here next week to go ahead and pour this porch. That way we can continue on. When you're sort of acting as the contractor and you get to work on it in the evenings and on, you know, Saturdays, some of this stuff bottlenecks on you, in which I'm feeling the effects of that, but it'll get done when it gets done. But anyway, I gotta get rolling though. We gotta get this thing finished up. But anyway, if you watch this one, I appreciate it. And I'll tell you, I've had several people around here locally say, Travis, you never do ask anybody to subscribe to your channel. And there's a reason I don't. I feel like it's begging, but they tell me I need to do that. So if you want to subscribe, we'll be glad to take you. But anyway, until the next time, we'll see you later.